Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Paul Golan. I'm Executive Director of the Society for Humanistic Judaism. And today is our first ever launch party or release party for Humanistic Judaism Magazine Spring 2025 issue, which was on Jewish objects, cultural and ritual. And if you haven't read it yet, I hope you will check it out. You can find it at shj.org/magazine. Those of you who are members of the Society for Humanistic Judaism, either directly as an independent member or a subscriber to the magazine, or you are a member of one of our affiliated local communities, of which we have about 30 in North America, you should be receiving them by email quarterly and also printed twice a year. So thank you for supporting our movement by being a member, and the magazine is one of the things we like to do to help people feel connected and find meaning in humanistic Judaism. And we have been undertaking an effort, thanks to a grant from the Puffin Foundation, to expand our reach with the magazine, expand the scope of the magazine, try to appeal to a broader audience of secular and humanistic Jews. So if you know folks who are not at all affiliated with our movement, subscribing to the magazine is an entry-level way of being connected and learning and experiencing and hopefully having fun. I think this past issue was pretty lighthearted and not too serious, but also, there were certainly lots of things that I learned from the pieces in there. So spread the word. And the Puffin Foundation, if you don't know, it's based out of New York and New Jersey. If you're in the area, you should sign up for their emails at puffinfoundation.org, because they support a lot of great cultural activities that are happening in New Jersey and New York. And if you are in the area, you may want to check them out. They support the arts, they support publishing, and we were really, sorry, I lost my video. We were very honored to receive a grant from them to do this work. And one of the great things that we've been able to do in expanding our scope and reach is bring on Cantor Jonathan Friedman to be our editor. If you don't know him yet, I hope you will get to know him and his work. He's incredibly prolific. He has an encyclopedic knowledge of Jewish culture and kitsch. And I am going to turn things over to Jonathan now. So take it away.
Thank you so much. One person's kitsch is another person's treasure, I think. So that's for another time, but it is related to what we're here to talk about today. As was mentioned, the issue has been out for a little while, so hopefully you've had a chance to look through it. I might show a bit of it if I have time as well, to give you a preview if you haven't seen it, or a reminder if you have, because the way that we're looking at Jewish objects is in the broadest possible way, very much in line with our philosophy of humanistic Judaism, self-determined, self-defined, and we'll talk a little bit about that as it pertains to your own contributions to our contest, and I'll remind you of the rules of that in a moment as well. But I was reminded in preparing for this afternoon, that there's kind of a famous maxim or saying about Jewish music, which is one of my fields, and I see Andy is here too, his field as well, which is by Ruth Rubin, who is a very important Jewish folklorist and Yiddish singer. And she said that Jewish music is as diverse and variegated as the Jews themselves. And I think that phrase, that saying, applies to objects as well, right? Jewish objects are as diverse and variegated as the Jews themselves. And for me, if you look around my house, if you ever have the privilege of visiting, you won't see a lot of kind of classical Judaica. not a lot of menorahs and mezuzahs and paintings of old rabbis and stuff like that, but rather things that have kind of hidden Jewish stories or Jewish subjects that I know about that might not be so obvious. So I just wanted to share a couple of things from my own collection to get things rolling. This is a very near and dear object for me. I don't know if you can see this, but this is Lance Steinberg. If you follow G.I. Joe, this is the Jewish G.I. Joe. He was one of the original characters from 1982. His code name is Clutch. I just know him as Lance. And there's a terrific issue of G.I. Joe Special Missions from 1986. That's actually it actually goes pretty deep. This is the comic here. If you're interested in, well, I'm not assuming that you're all G.I. Joe aficionados, but those of us in the know that the comics are better than the cartoon. And this is an example of that. So in this particular issue, Clutch, Lance Steinberg, is part of a team that goes down to Brazil to track down a Nazi war criminal. And he starts to have flashbacks about his own upbringing and memories of his grandmother. And I'll just read a little bit from the issue. He says that my grandmother lived with us when I was little. She had little blue numbers tattooed on her arm. She came into my room one day while I was watching TV, a sitcom about POWs during World War II, the one with the funny Nazis. She started screaming. She never stopped screaming. It was as if she had been on hold for 25 years, and the horror finally caught up with her. Nazis give me the freaking willies. So that's from G.I. Joe Special Missions, starring Lance Steinberg. Another thing, just looking around my room, this is kind of special, very special, actually. This is original comic book art from Archie. I actually have the entire story. I just framed the first page, but this is an Archie comic from 1993, the year of my bar mitzvah. But it's special for a couple of reasons. It deals with music, and that's, again, one of my passions and interests. This is where Archie wants to learn the trumpet, and Principal Weatherby tells him to knock it off because he sucks so much. But the cool thing about it is that it is by Stan Goldberg. And if you know anything about comic book history, Stan Goldberg is one of those unsung heroes. He worked at Marvel Comics in the early, I guess during the 60s in his early career. He was called by Stan Lee Stan G because Stan Lee was so clever. But nevertheless, Stan Goldberg was a colorist at Marvel, and he was responsible for the color design for Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, Hulk, all these really classic characters. We don't often think about the colorist when we think about, how important it is, the blue and the red of Spider-Man, the green and the purple of Hulk, et cetera, et cetera. And then he would go on to Archie Comics and have a nearly 40-year career there. So Stan Goldberg's one of my, Jewish heroes, so to speak. And I was just really thrilled to get this collection, a collection of original artwork from Amazon for like $75, which was a steal. Anyway, one of my proudest moments was finding that on there. Okay, so getting into the issue, again, just to show a little bit of what we're dealing with here with Jewish objects. If you can see my share here, this is the cover. Of course, this is the collection, the famous collection of Rabbi Jody Kornfeld. Just one of the wonderful things you'll find if you visit her home. But of course, a lot of wonderful Jewish heroes and contributors here in toy form, which is probably the best form. Our lead-in article here was by the late Rabbi Peter Schweitzer, who in 2005 donated his magnificent and expansive collection of Judaica to the National Museum of American Jewish History. This particular piece from that collection struck me. This is a piece of sheet music that he found, a Yiddish piece of music commemorating the Titanic disaster in 1912. That's followed by an article by Martin DiMaggio, who is a student in our leadership program at the International Institute for Secular Humanistic Judaism, lives in England, has a Sephardic background, and this is his Moroccan Chanukiah, his Moroccan Hanukkah menorah, which is very special to him. I had the privilege of interviewing this very colorful character, Alan Frischman, who was a Catskills plumber back in the heyday of the resorts up there. And when the resorts were closing, he was a building inspector, and he went around and salvaged thousands of items that would have otherwise been discarded from those resorts, which ended up being the foundational and still majority collection of the new Catskills Borscht Belt Museum, which was opened in 2023 in Ellensville. Here we have Ralph Bayer and his brown box. This is an article written by Larry Cooperman, who's a video game industry professional. And you might not know the name Ralph Baer, but you're probably familiar with what he did, which was invent home video games. And his family escaped Germany when he was young. He ended up in the United States, started working with government contracts, and stumbled upon this idea of having home video games. His brown box became the Magnavox Odyssey, which was the first home video game system. Very special object, which has a Jewish story. That's followed by an article by professor and activist Elliot Ratzman about a Musar card that he carries around. Musar is a discipline within Judaism that builds on character traits, virtues. And so he carries this laminated card around him to all of his activist and other activities as a reminder of how to be a mensch in the world. That's followed by Andy Muchin's article on his record collection. And he's here, I think he'll be sharing something maybe for our contest. Awesome. This is one of the pieces that he talked about, this Seder with Cantor Moshe Kusevitsky, a record from around 1960. And of course, records are sort of classic Jewish objects. And I see behind you, Andy, you've got quite a bit of them. All right. And following that is Jody's article on finding meaning in Jewish art objects, which is an expansive sort of tapestry of different items that might be considered Jewish, very much in line with our theme of the evening, ranging from ritual objects to pop culture to highbrow to Judea kitsch, which is one of my favorite words that I learned from your article. Thank you for that. And then finally, a very esteemed museum expert, Ari Dechter. This is his book from a couple years ago, Exploring Jewish History Through 50 Historic Treasures. He talks about the past and future of Jewish museums, what Jewish museums collected and collect, what it means to have a Jewish collection, and very deep kind of discussion of sort of the insider questions and challenges of the museum field. So that's what our current issue has to offer, if you haven't had a chance to see it yet. But I'm going to read a little bit from my introduction to that issue too, and then we'll get into the contest. We are what we collect. The objects we amass and display are external representations of ourselves, our interests, backgrounds, values, quirks, convictions, and aesthetics. Collections can be small or large, cheap or expensive, practical or impractical. The contents can be personal, like photographs and heirlooms, or have wider resonance, like movie posters and political campaign buttons. And of course, the old adage always applies. One person's trash is another person's treasure. Like other things worth collecting, Jewish objects cover an array of possibilities. There are ritual objects in decorative Judaica, historical pieces in whimsical kitsch, Jewish items, obviously Jewish items rather, and things with subtle or hidden Jewish stories. And so, in our contest today, we are asking you to share one of your favorite Jewish objects, just one. This is Jewish defined by you. Again, I kind of demonstrated what that might mean. We have no judgments. We just want to see your stuff. You must own the object, and you will have 2 minutes or less to explain what it is and why it has meaning or beauty or bizarreness to you. And we have 3 categories that we're judging, and I'll introduce the judges in a second. One category is most meaningful. The next, most beautiful. And third, most bizarre. Of course, something can be meaningful, beautiful, and bizarre at the same time, but our judges are experts, and they know how to do this. Judge number 1, Paul Golan, Executive Director of the Society for Humanistic Judaism. We also have Evie Goldstein, who is Vice President of the SHJ Board of Directors. I suppose, I don't know if you can see her. Just wave, say hello, whatever. Okay, perfect. Rabbi Jody Kornfeld, who's Rabbi of Beth Chavarim Humanistic Judaism in Deerfield, Illinois. And Rabbi Joey Angelfield, who's a rabbi at Adat Chavarim, Congregation for Humanistic Judaism in Los Angeles with me, and also co-host with me of Amusing Jews, an interview show celebrating Jewish contributors and contributions to American popular culture. And several of our attendees, including a couple of the judges, have been guests on that show, as it happens. And so I'm going to turn it over now to Paul, who's going to be our timekeeper and sort of stage director for this event.
I'm going to try. This is the first time I'm using the timer in Zoom, and we're switching back and forth to a scorecard that the judges will be using. This is all very advanced technology. I had a couple of those young guys from Doge set it all up for us, so it should work fine. Kidding. And what we'd like to do is give folks who want to do it 2 minutes to tell us your name and what the object is and a little bit about why it is of interest. You don't necessarily have to say that you're entering it into the beautiful or meaningful or bizarre categories. We will rank it on all 3. And who knows, you may think it's bizarre and we may call it the winner for beautiful. We'll see how it goes. But you can certainly say this is the most bizarre thing I've ever owned, and then we'll kind of understand that that's why you're entering it. The first person, well, so the judges will not be entering, but I'm going to give you an example, and that way I can also see if this timer really works. So I will take the privilege of leading off. Can everyone see that timer in the top right of your Zoom screen? Great. So I am a collector of many, many, many things. But for the purposes of this meeting today, I wanted to share with you this book, which is part of an edu manga series. And it is, let me see if I can spotlight, if that helps. Does that help people? So it is Astro Boy, who, if you know anything about animation, was kicked off the entire, really, industry of anime and manga. And he is learning about Anne Frank. And so much of the manga, first of all, it opens, one of the nice commonalities between Japanese and Jewish is it reads like Hebrew. So the book opens this way, and they read from right to left. But of course, this has been translated into English, and you can see that like much of the story is drawn in manga style, but there are points along the way where Astro Boy is learning from the professor who built him all about the Holocaust. And I don't know, I may put this in the bizarre category. So here's Astro Boy protecting a Jewish star from a bunch of like angry swastikas. I don't know. I'll confess that I haven't actually read the whole thing, but I just love owning it. Those of you who know me know that I am married to someone from Japan. We call our kids Jupanese. I'm the administrator of the Jupanese Facebook page. If you know people who are Jupanese or are just interested, have them like the Facebook Jupanese page. But I collect things that have where Jewish and Japanese converge, and my time is up. Oh, and it makes a noise. How about that? It plays me off. Now, how do I stop the timer? Sorry, I'm learning as we go. And there you go. All right, got it. So who wants to go first? We will kind of wait, WEIGHT, whoever goes first with a little bit of a benefit for being brave enough to be the first participant. Trav, hang on one sec. Let me put you on spotlight and start the timer. Go ahead.
Hi, I think I've got sound on.
Yep.
I have a very simple dreidel, but you'll see that it is crystal clear. The reason why it's special, obviously it's Jewish. As you can see behind me, all of these clear pieces and the wood piece were made by my mother. She worked in acrylic as an artist and sculptor for 50 years. This is the only Jewish object that my mother likes because it's clear and it's fun and interesting, similar to her stuff. That's really it.
That's fantastic. And when did she make it?
So she did not make the dreidel. The dreidel was purchased by me off of Amazon.
Oh, okay. But
the pieces behind me were all made in the 1970s.
Got it. Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. And I am stopping the timer. This timer is wonderful. Okay, I'm going to go by who had their hands up first. And so the next person is Steve Braun. Can you unmute yourself?
Hi. This is I believe, a print that was signed by the artist or the person who printed it. I don't know much about the, where it came from, because it came into my possession when my ex-wife left. She left that, and by terms of the separation agreement, whatever she left behind became mine. So seems to be a lot of Jewish objects, and perhaps Jerusalem. And the colors, I think, are great. I don't know if it picks up on that, but it's really sort of self-explanatory, and have nothing else to add.
Great, thank you. Let me remove your spotlight. And Eva Goldfinger, can you unmute? And let me spotlight you. Okay.
Hello, everybody. I am from Toronto. I'm delighted to be here. And this is my object. As you can tell, not only is it a menorah, but it's not a traditional menorah. It does have 8 dancers doing the hora, women. And then the 9th little light is at the bottom, which is the shamash. And I love it because it's artistic and different, and coming from a Hasidic background, it's like, thumbing my nose at my parents who do everything traditionally. So this is untraditional and I think beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, you guys are going to exhaust me by not using up your whole 2 minutes. Can you tell us where you got it? That is kosher though, right? That's a kosher menorah. It looks kosher.
And
so You're not totally throwing it in their face.
Now, I checked, trying to remember, I've had it for so long and I keep it on top of my piano right in the living room so everybody can see it when they come in. But I'll be damned if I remember where I got it. So I'm afraid I can't help you there. And I've got 44 seconds left, so I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks again. I'll stop talking. Make room for other people.
Great. Okay. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna remove the spotlight. And Susan Rubin, you gotta unmute. I'm gonna spotlight you.
So, okay.
Hi.
So,
Okay.
so when I was a little girl, I used to love looking at Hans Christian Andersen books, and one of them was illustrated by Arthur Zick, who I didn't know much about at the time, but I knew the pictures were really scary. They scared me a lot. And then when we were cleaning out my mother-in-law's house, my husband came upon this Haggadah, and it was illustrated by Arthur Zick, and it was printed in 1960 in Israel. And so it's one of the items that we use at our Passover Seder. We print it, we pass it around to all the kids. And since then, I've collected a few other Zick prints because he's just really an amazing artist. That's about all I can say. Unless the funny thing is, when I opened it up today, I found a bookmark. It must have been my mother-in-law's, and it was done by kids for fundraising for the Dakota Red Cloud Indian School. So how these two items got together, I have no idea.
That's awesome.
Here's
Thank you.
here's the bookmark.
Thanks. I'm gonna remove your spotlight. I will say that Arthur, I think it's pronounced Chick, but it is spelled, I think it's a Czech name. It is spelled with all kinds of consonants in a row. And but the reason I know of him is because I'm also a philatelist, a stamp collector. He did stamp, he designed a couple of stamps for Israel in the early 50s, and that's how I kind of got into his artwork. So it's definitely an artist that I've never heard of before. I don't think he's very well known, but he has done amazing work in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and has a really interesting backstory. So thank you for bringing him up.
It's spelled S-Z-Y-K.
S-Z-Y-K. Yeah, there's not a single vowel in there, but I think I've heard people say Schick, but I don't know. Thank you for that. All right, Andy, let me bump you to spotlight, and you're good to go.
Okay, I have to back up. This is big. But I have a black velvet painting of the Western Wall. You can see it here. It was made in Israel according to the inscription, and it says in Hebrew, the Western Wall. And the artist is listed as Bezalel. Now, there's a Bezalel Art Institute in Israel, and I've done a search, of course, and called doing my own research. And there are several Israeli artists who call themselves Bezalel. So I'm not entirely sure where it came from. I bought it. I bought it at an antique store in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where I was living in about the year 2000. And I remember I had just received a small bequest from a relative, and I had worked my entire career in Jewish journalism, and I had 4 children, so I had no money before I got this bequest. And so I was able to spend, I don't know, $75 on that print, which has traveled with me to various places where I've lived and now here in Victoria. So I can answer any questions. I did have it vacuumed, but other than that, I haven't had it cleaned. So
If you use a black light, does it shine like those 70s Elvis and Led Zeppelin posters, or no?
that's a great question. I'm going to have to get a black light.
Gotta get a black light. All right. Well,
If
thank
anybody
you.
has one, you shine it, into the screen. Yeah.
That's very cool. I love that music. See, I stopped the timer, but the music keeps going. Okay. Let me highlight Samantha. Hi, Samantha. Welcome.
Hi. So mine is really simple. So, but first I'm going to tell you that last year I did a service at our congregation, Cahabre Ra in Cambridge, and I did it on collections and how what you collect says a lot about you. So, Paul, I really want to know about all your different collections and what they say about you. So we'll have to do that another time. But I showed pictures of my very Jewish mother's collection of snow people. She had over 2,000 of them. She called them snow people. And she said because snow is non-denominational. Like her whole house looked very Christmassy. So mine is a mezuzah. I'm not sure if you knew that by looking at it. And it was a genius invention I had when I was teaching Sunday school, K-3 Sunday school. And I wanted the kids to make mezuzahs, but I wasn't really sure what they could handle. And I happen to have a bunch of Scrabble trays because I do a lot of crafts and a lot of Scrabble tiles. And so this is just two Scrabble trays glued together and Scrabble tiles. And this is my very meta mezuzah. So that's what I call it, my meta mezuzah.
Love it. That is great. So you made that yourself?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
They're very easy to make. If you have Scrabble and you don't play anymore, you just glue two of the trays together. You obviously could put something in. I haven't put anything in.
Okay.
And then you can glue letters onto it.
You know, we did a humanistic mezuzah scroll a few years back.
Yes. And when I did this at my congregation this time, I did it again and we put that one in it. I printed a bunch of those out.
Okay, that's great. So let me cross promote. I was on an episode of Amusing Jews with the two co-hosts that are on this call with us. And, sorry, let me stop that. And I did show parts of my collection, which are toys and stamps. Those are the two main collecting areas for me, much to the chagrin of the other people who live in my household. Okay, Sharon, whoops, let me spotlight you. Welcome.
Hi, this is the first time I'm here.
Welcome.
What's interesting is that I'm married to a Jamaican man, so I call my son, he's a Jamaican Jew, so he goes, "Oi, man." He doesn't like it at all. I have, it's kind of nice and it's kind of weird. My name is Sharon Stanley. My maiden name is Oisher. Is that familiar to anybody? Because the people who might know that name are leaving Earth, if that makes sense. My father's first cousin was Moishe Oisher.
Wow.
Does that mean anything to anybody?
Andy?
Yeah, he was a great artist. Starting from the late 30s, he was in Yiddish film and he made albums and, well, in the 50s when albums started here.
Yes, in fact, at the Yiddish theater, he was all over the place. I'm told he was the Tom Jones.
I don't mean to top you.
No, that's okay. I'm told he was like the Tom Jones of the Yiddish theater. Very handsome. He passed away the year I was born. But this is his sister, Fredela, who was just as talented as he was, except that she was a woman. I did meet her before she passed away. She was about 98. And I don't know if you knew, but her daughter is Marilyn Michaels. She was the female impersonator from the Copycats. Anyway, this album was my mother's. And the sad part about it, it's completely in Yiddish. I don't understand a word of it. But I did meet Fredela a couple of times before she passed away. She signed it to me and my brother. And it makes me sad because my parents used Yiddish as the secret language. So they didn't want my brother and I to know what they were talking about. And it's kind of sad now because I don't know it. And I'm kind of worried at this stage it would be hard to learn. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. And that very much is the story for me as well. Yiddish was my mom's first language, and they didn't teach it to us. Somehow I understood when they were talking about me. I somehow, it's just that part I kind of started to get. But yeah, it is a shame that there was just this idea, I think, that we've left that world behind and our kids now need to be fully American, and that means no Yiddish. There is a revival now on college campuses of people who are learning Yiddish, so outside of the Orthodox world, who they still use Yiddish. So you never know. It's not as dead as they said it was in the 80s. It's more alive now than it was then. So thank you very much for that. Susan, let me give you the spotlight. And
all right. Can you, all right. My name is Susan.
We can't see you. Did you turn your camera off? There we go.
All right, I have on my,
Oh, now you just muted. You just muted yourself. Can you unmute?
all right.
There you go.
I have my phone. Hello.
Hi.
My phone is. I have a problem. I have a miniature. Oh, I can't get the phone. I have a miniature synagogue.
Oh, wow.
That my husband and I made for his mother. I didn't make the people in there, but I did the rest. It's electronic. It's a synagogue. Gave it to his mother, and when she was older, she was able to sit in front of it and do services. I live in Arizona, in the middle of nowhere, and so when my late husband and I moved to Arizona, and this town, we said, yes, we had one synagogue. It's our synagogue inside of our house. So it's
We are
miniature synagogue.
When you stood right next to it, it did come into focus and we were able to see it. It looks pretty remarkable. Is that so? That's all handcrafted and it's made out of wood?
Yes.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's model. Is it modeled on any particular synagogue? It looks like is the bima in the. Okay.
No, we made it up ourselves.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you very much. That is really beautiful. Thank you. Okay, Carol, let me give you the spotlight.
Hi, I'm Carol Cohen from Asheville, North Carolina. And I started doing needlepoint in the 80s. And when I bought this, it had the candlesticks. And I said, no, I want all the Jewish holidays on it. And so it's got Hanukkah and Sukkot and Purim and Shavuot and Passover. Some of those were on there to begin with, but I added the Passover Seder plate and I added the Hebrew letters for Shavuos and the Israeli flag because I wanted a needlepoint that showed all the Jewish holidays.
That's awesome. I see a grogger.
Yes, a grogger for
Purim.
And a shofar and a dreidel and lulav and an esrog. And there's a mask over here for Purim and of course Passover and Shavuos and Shabbat.
Got it. And you said so the original was just the candles?
No, the original had the candlesticks and it had the lulav, and it had the shofar and this. I added 1, 2, 3 parts to it.
Great, very nice.
And it also has a synagogue.
Uh-huh.
After all, we do need a synagogue as part of our holidays.
Great. Thank you. Sorry, let me take off your spotlight and stop the timer. Hi, is it Jayla?
Yes.
Jayla? Hi,
Hi. Okay.
welcome.
Hi, thanks so much.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'm Jayla, and this is my husband, Doug. I was planning on just enjoying other stories, and then I thought of one thing I could share. I wanted to share this Freedom Seder. So we became foster adopt parents in 2009, and our kiddo is African American. So we wanted to, lean in and have as many experiences for him as possible that were true to his culture. And one of the things that we decided to do is to create a Freedom Seder for the Martin Luther King holiday. So, I wasn't raised Jewish, but Doug here was raised Humanistic Jewish in Detroit. And what we decided to do is celebrate Martin Luther King holiday, like in a similar way with a Seder plate, and honoring Martin Luther King and his nonviolent commitment. And we have a lot of the same tenets of the Seder, Passover Seder, including lighting candles, having different readers, taking different foods. After the Seder, we have we change it up, but the majority enjoy fried chicken and collard greens, so we lean into the Southern food for the meal afterwards. So we honor Martin Luther King, and also a commitment to nonviolence and freedom.
You wrote
That's
a
beautiful.
special Haggadah.
And I wrote a special Haggadah, which is what I'm holding right now. I mean, it's a lot of pages, so it's kind of hard to see, but we enjoy a lot.
Sorry. That's great. I wanted to ask, I'll take the privilege of going over for a couple of seconds. Is the liturgy humanistic in that one? Do you know? It is.
Yeah,
You use the humanistic liturgy.
Yeah, we have a humanistic liturgy for the regular Seder and for this Seder, yes.
If you want, be in touch with me. I'd love to share it. We can put it up on our blog at SHJ, and others. I would ask you to write a paragraph or two of what you just said in terms of what motivated you to put it together, and we'll have it as a guest post on our blog and point people to it. So especially before Passover, so others can do that Freedom Seder as well, if you'd be interested.
That'd be great.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, Shirley, I am going to spotlight you. And start the timer.
Hi,
Welcome.
I'm from Tucson, Arizona, and I did. Excuse me. Used to do a lot of traveling before I retired, and I think it was around 86 or so. I went to what was then Yugoslavia, and in Dubrovnik, I went to a very old synagogue on the upper story of a building. Very old, very dirty, very dim, but it was historical for Yugoslavia. And there's also an artist who lived there at the time by the name of Obacan. And this is just a poster of one of his works. And I love it because I love klezmer music too, and it reminded me of it. And we must have, my friend and I must have spent an hour in his store talking to him. He was the only person there. And the place was just filled with his works. And the little birds here now in the picture remind me of the works of one of our local cartoonists, David Fitzsimmons. Susan, you would know him. And it's just whimsical works and beautiful stuff. The poster was all I could afford at the time. So
And the artist is Jewish. Is that the
yes,
connection? Okay.
Jovan Obachan.
Okay, Obachan. Great.
Yeah.
All right, we'll Google it. Thank you very much.
Thank
Very
you.
cool. All right. Hi, Marlene. You're on mute.
Hello.
Hi.
All right. So I know Paul told me I'm on the board. I'm not allowed to win. So as a result, I don't have my object, but I just didn't have the time to find it. I don't know if any of you had seen this at the time. I'm not a collector, but the one thing I have collected are political campaign buttons. And back when George Bush and Al Gore were running against each other at a nice little Jewish shop, I discovered a campaign button that I do still have, and it had a picture of George Bush and a picture of Al Gore, and the label underneath, other way around, picture of Al Gore, picture of George W. Bush, and underneath it said Gore garnished.
Nice. Who won that election?
Garnished.
Mm-hmm.
And
Thank you.
if we thought that was garnished, oh my.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Ari, I'm going to spotlight you and start the timer. Welcome. You're on mute. There you
Thank
go.
you. Hello, everybody. I don't know if you can figure out what this is before I open it up, but it's a Seder plate.
Huh?
Oh.
Oh,
Can
wow.
everybody see that?
Yeah.
The artist is Yair Emmanuel. He was born in Jerusalem. He's still there. And he makes all kinds of Judaica in different styles. These are all hand painted. And I started collecting his work it's more than 10 years ago, but not 20. He's still active, of course. And one of the reasons why I really love this is because when I've used it, the more conservative people around the table complain that it isn't round. It can't be a Seder plate because it's got to be round. And so there's always a nice discussion about that.
Very cool. So you have used it
Oh, yeah.
at your Seder.
Yeah.
Is it the only one, or do you accommodate and also have a round one, or
Well,
just that one?
we do our Seder. People bring things to the Seder, and we have separate tables and different Seder plates.
Very cool. Thank you. I'm going to remove your spotlight and spotlight. Ooh, gotta stop the timer for that music. Okay. Hi, Steve.
Hi. Okay. So my object, I think most people would call Jewish. I found this in my parents' closet when they both died about 6 years ago. And it was tucked far in the back. I had never seen it before. This was a bag that it says JR. I think it's JR. And on the back, there's a Star of David. And in the bag were tefillin, which I think is very old. I don't know if you can't really see it too well.
Yeah,
And there was also wrapped up in a piece of dirty sheet, 4 mini Torah scrolls.
Oh, wow.
And I have no idea how old they are. Going back in the family tree, there's somebody, my dad's father's uncle had these initials, JR, Joseph Roth. But I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
It's
Yeah, it's a mystery, but it's pretty powerful and obviously meant something to somebody to want to hang on to it. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing.
What?
And of course, I have nightmares about what my family's going to find when they go through my stuff, but that's for another webinar. Hi, Mary.
So in the early 1900s, cigar companies would take a piece of felt and put it in the cigar box. And this is a piece of felt from the early 1900s. So they did, different countries, but this is the one that I collected. Did you see it?
Yeah. So it is felt to keep the cigars in place, like it was covering the cigars.
I'm not sure.
It was
Just
like
the
a
research I did.
decorative thing over cigars.
Yeah.
That's
So
wild.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember where I got it, but it's felt. It's very soft, and I put it in a frame.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Timer. Hello. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Hi, everyone. I went back and forth about it, but here I am. I'm doing it. Mike Sandler in Springfield, Virginia, a member of Mahar in DC area. This is the Kosher Cookbook Trilogy. I don't know if any of you know about that one. It includes, the trilogy is comprised of the Chinese Kosher Cookbook, the Italian Kosher Cookbook, and the French Kosher Cookbook. And it was published in 1963. I found it at a used bookstore. It's got a lot of kind of Yiddish isms, I guess you would say. It's like written as if their mother at the time, who's fluent in Yiddish, had come up with a cookbook. I don't know if this is real or not, but they're like stuffed mushrooms mazel tov, fried wonton rebbetzin. I don't know. I'm not sure if this is racist or not. Sorry. Egg flour soup pesadik, matzo brie fuyang. I mean, it's pretty funny. And then it switches to Italian, and then it switches to French, and it's got just like, yeah, I don't know. It's a Mashugana paparazzi, those crazy Italian photographers who are busy chasing after Italian actresses when they could be photographing some nice Jewish girls. I don't know. Random. I don't know what to say about it, but it's pretty funny.
Definitely, yeah. It sounds like a definite like time capsule piece from a certain era. That's awesome. Have you ever tried cooking any of those dishes?
I've been cooking a lot from this other one that's like the Vilna Vegetarian Cookbook. If anyone knows about that one, that's my go-to. So I haven't really tried this one, but I should. It's a good idea. Maybe I will now. I'll be inspired by you all.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much. I don't see any of the Zoom hands up left, but if somebody else, oh, Bill. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on one sec. Let me spotlight you and start the timer. All right. Welcome.
Well, a couple of people have said that what you collect defines you. And I think if you look behind us, you can see that in this house we have wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves in just about every room but the bathrooms and the kitchen. maybe about 10,000 titles altogether in the house. But the thing I really wanted to share with you, and it's packed away for winter, but I have a photo on my desktop, if there's any way to screen share, is Ira's Humanikia, which a couple of you know about, which was based on the Humanora from SHJ. And it was a father and son project that we did several years ago, in which we made basically a Humanora version of a Humanikia. And I think it's very beautiful. I think it's very Jewish, very humanistic, and very unique. And
okay, I need to remove your spotlight to allow you, to make you a co-host so that you can share your screen, which you now are. I think I can add the spotlight back. And if you want to share your screen, and here we go.
Can you see that?
Yep. And for folks who don't know, do you want to explain what the Humanora is?
Yeah, that's the logo of SHJ, which is a menorah, but it's a humanistic menorah. And like this Humanikia, it has the humanist symbol of a person with arms raised to support the enlightenment of the candles. And this one we designed and took to a local craftsman, and he worked with acrylic and put together this beautiful piece that we pull out every year for Hanukkah.
Thank you. Awesome, thanks. Hi, Andrea or Andrea, which do you prefer?
Oh, Andrea.
Andrea, welcome.
Hi. Many years ago, I used to work at Hebrew University, Baltimore, and I think it was even the first week I worked there. Eli Wiesel came to talk, and I heard him talk, and I got his autograph. So here's Eli Wiesel's autograph in the Haggadah.
Well, I'm sorry, I missed it. What book is that?
I'm sorry, but my phone is doing something complicated. It's a Passover Haggadah as commented upon by Eli Wiesel and illustrated by Mark Podwall. And I saw Eli Wiesel talk and I got his autograph. Yes, so
Very cool. Very cool.
here it is.
Nice.
So,
Great. Is there, let's see, let me remove your spotlight so I can see what's going on. Well, anyone else? This timing worked out perfectly if there is nobody else. Oh, let me stop. Mary, your hand is up. You got something else?
This is quick because somebody noticed my posters.
Oh.
You can talk about it, Paul.
Well, this was the first go around when we were doing protests. We did the science march in Detroit, which aligned with the SHJ board meeting, and our Raya Preidel, who is the Rebbitzin at Mahar in Washington, D.C., our D.C. affiliated community, helped us create these posters, which we used kind of as placards as we marched. And Mary got them framed.
I'm using them now.
Yeah, yeah, I know, we can still use them, unfortunately. They're still relevant.
I know, I write a message on the back, so I've got something on the front and something on the back.
Great, well, thank you.
You might want to republish those.
Yeah, or at least put the PDFs out so people can go get them printed locally. Great. If I haven't, I've added my score. The three other judges added theirs. I created this extremely sophisticated Excel spreadsheet that should provide an average, which I am going to start with the most meaningful, and with a score of 9 out of 10, an average score of 9 out of 10. We, of course, have a tie. I thought we'd have enough judges not to have a tie, but we don't. We have a tie. So it is Susan Wortman with her mini synagogue and J-Lo Wolf with the Freedom Seder. So congratulations. And I don't know whether you will be okay splitting a gift certificate. We are a nonprofit organization. I hope it's okay if we can split that, but if not, and you want to hold me to the letter of the law, maybe we'll just send you both a gift certificate. I don't want to say the name of the online store that it will be for because I'm not thrilled with the owner of that store necessarily, but it's the easiest one for us to do. So we will be in touch with you on that. So congratulations. Now I'm going to look at the cumulative scores for most beautiful, and we have a tie again. This is really ridiculous. We have a three-way tie with an average score of 8.67. See, I went to two digits out, 2 decimals, and we still have a tie. But okay, congratulations for those who scored 8.7. So the first is Susan Wortman again. So I don't know that we're going to double up on your gift certificate, but we will send you something. The other winners are Ari Ashkenazi for the foldable Seder plate. This is the most beautiful category. And Bill Parsons for the Humanora. Congratulations. Bill,
I don't qualify. I'm on the board.
okay, but thank you for that. And I'm sorry, your son's name. Can you say your name and say hi?
Hi, I'm Ira.
Ira. And is that a Maryland shirt?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's in honor of Marlene. That's a Terp shirt for her.
Don't you know this is a U Michigan meeting? No, I'm kidding. Okay, congratulations. And now I'm looking at the most bizarre, and we have a tie again. So we're gonna figure this out. And this is a cumulative average of a 9 out of 10 is Samantha for her Scrabble mezuzah. And oh, okay, sorry, that is it. You're the highest score on that. So most bizarre, the winner is the Scrabble mezuzah. So thank you, everybody. This was a lot of fun. And I think we will be doing things like this again. Our next issue of the magazine, Jonathan, you want to do a reveal? Are we ready to reveal what the summer issue is going to be about?
Yeah, sure. We're already getting contributions. It's going to be on Jews and comic books from all conceivable angles, past, present, future. It's going to be amazing, actually.
And that will be a printed edition. So for those of you who are member subscribers, you'll get it in the mail. It's, I think, going to be really beautiful. We've been working really hard to make the issues look beautiful as well as read beautifully. So look forward to that, and maybe we'll get on. I am going to write something about Spiegelman from a political angle, and actually I don't even know what my deadline is. So Jonathan, you should probably email me.
I can just tell you right now, it's July 31st.
Oh my God! All right, I'll start working on it. Thank you, everybody, for coming. This was a lot of fun. We will do more like this in the future. Until then, have a wonderful summer and stay cool. And thank you, Jonathan, for hosting and for all your work on the magazine. And to our judges, thank you all. Take care.